Hi, and welcome to Moonbeam Connections. I'm Jacqui-Leigh. Today on Seriously Universe, Explain Yourself, we're going to look at why when everything's going perfect, does it always fall apart? Every time. So if it always seems like, oh, everything's perfect, this is the perfect plan, and then it just completely falls apart, or this is the perfect job, and it completely falls apart, or this is the perfect relationship, and it completely falls apart. If it seems like every time something's perfect, it completely falls apart, this is the place for you. So I do set the intention that these messages reach those who need them when they need them. So if this message did reach you today, it is meant for you. However, that doesn't mean the entire message is meant for you. It just might mean that part of the message is meant for you. So could we please get a card on why when everything's going perfect, does it all seem to fall apart? Every time. Why, when things seem perfect, do they always end up falling apart? Please and thank you. Okay, well that's group. I won't take those ones, but we will take this one over here. And what do we have? Ooh, Eight of Swords. Okay, so the Eight of Swords is about restriction or fear, feeling trapped. But the idea around the Eight of Swords is that she is trapped by her own mind. So if you can see in this particular depiction of the Eight of Swords, she's got swords all around her. She's kind of huddled in the middle, but actually there's space. Like she could just walk away. There's nothing actually keeping her there, even though she's trapped. And in the Rider-Waite version of it, she's kind of got swords sort of all around her in a semicircle, and she's got ropes tied around her, and she's got a blindfold on. However, she feels trapped. She thinks she's trapped, but she's not really. If she pulled the blindfold down, she could see, well, my feet aren't tied. The swords aren't surrounding me. I could just walk away. And so that's what this is. This is being trapped by your own mentality. So you want to do something, but you're like, oh, that'll never work out. Or it's sort of like feeling like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I could never do that, or, that's not something for me. It's really this trapped by your own restrictions, right? Like, oh, I could never be an actor. Like that's not me. Other people do that. I could never, be smart enough to get that education. Like it's all about your being trapped by your own fears, by your own mentality, by your own self holding you back. So when we look in the context of why when everything's going perfect does it seem to all fall apart, I would say because you get trapped in your own fears or your own restrictions you're putting on yourself. And of course that'll change exactly what that is depending on the context. But this, it could be you're in a relationship and you think the relationship's perfect, but it's not that it's actually perfect. It's just that, you don't think you deserve anything better, or you don't think you could ever get anything better. And so this is the most perfect relationship you could get. So I'm going to pull out my board and we'll see what Spirit has to say about this. As always, I do dub over it, so it may sound a little bit different. Or may trip over my words or stumble as I try and read what I actually wrote down. But we're going to ask Spirit, why when everything's perfect does it always seem to fall apart? And looking at it in relation to the Eight of Swords, which is all about feeling restricted, feeling trapped, being afraid to move forward, being afraid to move. So I will be quiet for a moment, get into my meditation mode, and we will see what Spirit has to say. Are you sure everything is perfect? Or are you just hoping it will become perfect? Or are you just ignoring those parts that aren't perfect. Nothing is perfect. There is no such thing as perfect. What you deem perfect is only what you feel you want or deserve, or what you are trying to avoid. Once you get out of your own head, out of your own way, you will see everything is imperfect always. But you will start to see the beauty in it. When things are not perfect, it won't ruin everything for you, because you can go with the flow. Everything does not always fall apart, but your perspective changes. What you ignored comes to light, and you begin to see the cracks in your perfect plan. But remember, it's all about the perspective. It's all about actually seeing the reality of the situation and going with it, turning it into the perfect scenario. Nothing is ever perfect. And by always striving for perfection, you miss the beauty around you. You become distressed when the imperfections start to show. The picture you had in your mind is not reflected by the reality around you. Relax. Go with the flow. Imperfection is where the beauty lies. Love. What Spirit is saying is that everything, seems perfect, or you believe it's perfect, but nothing's actually perfect, right? So you can't say, oh, everything was perfect and then it fell apart, because it wasn't perfect. Either, you were not looking at the whole picture, you're like, oh, it's perfect, yeah, we don't need to worry about that. It's perfect. And then when this thing over here starts intruding, right? Like say you're in a relationship and, oh, this is a perfect relationship. Yeah, his mother-in-law sucks, or his mother sucks, but that's okay. She's over there. That's okay. That's perfect. And all of a sudden, as you get more and more into the relationship, and you spend more and more time with your in-laws or future in-laws or maybe in-laws in the future, you start realizing, oh, yeah, maybe this is, but like you just can't keep ignoring this little factor over here that just keeps coming and butting in, right? And it can also be that, you're thinking this is perfect in order to avoid something else, right? Like, oh, living at home with my parents sucked, so this is perfect. Living with this person is perfect because I don't want to live back home. That's bad. So this is perfect. It's perfect. And then it falls apart because it was actually never perfect to begin with. It just was better than this situation, and so you wanted to believe it was perfect. But what this whole message is saying really is that nothing is perfect, right? You're not going to find something that's perfect, but you have to understand and look at reality, actually see what is there, but enjoy those imperfections. Nothing is perfect. So you need to start looking and finding the beauty in those little imperfections. Maybe it gives you some comedy, maybe his mother-in-law or his mother is constantly doing something, but you can find a way to joke around about it. It becomes an inside joke between the two of you, where instead of that bugging you or irking you or affecting the relationship, you've got this inside joke where every time the mother does this, before might be like, like why? Now you're just like, there she goes again. We know that mother, so you can turn things that are imperfect, you can find the beauty in it and turn it into perfection. But really what Spirit is saying is that nothing was perfect to begin with. You were trapped in this mentality, right? Of thinking everything's perfect, or in the mentality of having to try and make everything perfect, right? I can only live if it's a perfect relationship and the perfect house and the perfect job and the perfect this and the perfect that. And so you're always trying to make things perfect, and you're like, oh, this is perfect. I think I got it figured out, right? I think I found the perfect job for myself, and I think I got it figured out. And then all of a sudden, when those cracks start coming in, and you're like, oh, well, this coworker sucks, and I don't like the hours I work, and you're like, man, and everything just fell apart. I had this perfect job, and everything was perfect about it, and then that coworker came in, and they said I had to work these hours, and it all just fell apart, and it was so perfect to begin with. Why couldn't it have stayed perfect? But it wasn't actually that perfection to begin with. It was just your mindset around it, your mentality around it. So I hope this message helped you today. I'm sending you peace, love, and happiness. Bye for now.